It's
can
exciting.
tweet. About an hour before the game. 20 minutes before the game you can. Is it 20 minutes after or an hour after the game? 20 minutes after. So we want
20 minutes after?
Cool.
Yeah.
But an
cool
hour.
off period. Yeah.
That's
so
right.
That's probably a good idea.
we don't want them.
Yeah.
And then the teams have the right to extend that if they want. But obviously, if a player is hot over a play or an issue, we want him to settle down, be cool, and let his mind clear before he gets out there and tweets something. Because our philosophy on this, and we're very clear in our policy, is tweeting is as if you're talking to the media. So you have to treat this that this is a public domain, and it's just the same if a guy from TSN put his mic in front of you and asked you about that play. You have to really think about it. So we allow it, we encourage it, because it's part of our ethos of being accessible to our fans. But we just gotta, during game time and just before game time and after, we limit it.
Do you monitor their tweets?
I don't personally. But Jamie, you see a lot of it. Yeah. A little bit.
Secretly, yes.
Yeah.
We keep an eye on the players. Yes.
I have a question.
Sure.
You mentioned that you're trying to attract a new fan base, a younger one that doesn't necessarily watch TSN or any traditional media. So I saw today you guys launched a mobile app with TELUS, and you're doing, you're tweeting, that kind of thing. What other initiatives are you taking on to kind of attract that new audience?
Sure. I mean, I'm going to let Sean talk. Have you guys met Sean as well? Have you guys?
Yep.
Yeah.
Planning on making a late entrance.
Yeah. I think Sean should talk about some of the stuff on Facebook and all the things that we're doing on this. But go ahead.
Well, I mean, digital is the home for us with respect to that objective, but the app's kind of the main project at this point. But I think it depends how young you're talking. If you're talking kind of the teens up until where we're at, the application, CFL.ca, a lot of work on Facebook comes in. But family football is also something that we're targeting as well with respect to targeting young parents and their kids. So there's a wide range, but through Facebook, through Twitter, and through our home CFL.ca, that's where we start the engagement.
We're doing a lot more video. A lot more video on our site. I think what happened with phenomenon of YouTube. In the last 2 years, what's our views on the video? It's in millions yet. But it's huge numbers now.
What did we increase last year percentage? Do you remember?
On CFL.ca, 400%.
We're up 400% on our video views. So, and we really understand that people would love that. But I think the other thing with young people is that it's not just what we're doing in the social media area. We're investing in grassroots football. We're making it affordable so families. You'll actually see a lot of families tonight. And might be Sunday, Thursday night. Oh, it's Wednesday night. Sorry, I've been on the road. I was working this weekend, so I'm really losing track of time. I felt like it's Wednesday. There should be a lot of families with kids. School's out as well, so. But we're also, that's making sure that we're affordable. And as I said, we're investing in minor football. We're doing stuff with Football Canada. We have this initiative called Canadian Family Football, which is trying to get families out to play, just throw a ball around in the backyard, and working on some initiatives of getting kids active again. So you have to do both. You have to do the stuff on the media side and the social media side, but you also have to do the stuff at the grassroots where you invest in kids that actually playing, getting out, and throwing around the football, and that's something that's really important.
The Argos, you should add to that, funded 4 football programs in the city that had been out of football, traditional powerhouses. So
and around the country, our teams are all investing in minor football. They're doing events, they're doing coaching clinics, they're doing a whole bunch of different things as well. And what we've done in the last 3 years, we've started to celebrate our past a lot more. Because one of the things our own research shows that most young people today are, forget about Lady Gaga and all these young artists. They're going back to their dad's albums. They're pulling out the Guess Who, they're pulling out the Who, they're pulling out Rolling Stones, they're going back to Led Zeppelin, like they're real AC/DC, all the bands that I probably grew up with are the ones that are hot today. Primarily because they want things that are authentic, great musicians. And part of that authenticity is also harking back to a different era. So every year, let this be our 3rd year in a row, we've done retro weeks. where we celebrated. The first year was, Jamie, was the 60s we did it? We did the 50s the first year, and all of our teams did throwback jerseys, people dressed up. Then we did the 60s, and this year it's the 70s. We bring out the retro jerseys for a week. The teams can play in them. They do themed events those nights, whether it's different food or whether it's being dressed up in the 60s style. We actually had our TSN panel. I don't know if you saw it. In the 60s, they all dressed up sort of funky. The 60s or 50s, I can't remember. Yeah, they did both. They did both. So a lot of that stuff. And then as we gear up for the 100th Grey Cup, you'll see we're going to be doing a stamp. We're going to be doing a coin. They're actually for the 100th centennial for the Riders, which is this year. The Riders have been around for 100 years. They're doing a lot of these things already. We're probably going to do historical moments we're working on. We're working on doing a coffee table book, and that's a 100-year history of the Grey Cups. So there's a lot of these things that we're stepping back and saying, let's celebrate this. We started the CFL Alumni Association. There have always been alumni associations in each city. We created a national one. So now in many of the ballparks or many of the stadiums, when you walk into your gate, you might be greeted by CFL Grey. I was just in BC, and they had alumni every night. Every game, they now have alumni and they're doing autograph sessions. So there's a lot of those things we're doing to celebrate the past.
In Windsor on the U.S. border, so
Right.
I cheered for the Lions.
Yeah.
It was the home
Well,
team.
it's
Sorry.
Yeah,
It's okay. I mean, we have a good relationship with the NFL.
but not just the NFL, but that broader base of Canadians that aren't watching sports anymore. Are you doing anything to try and reach that demographic and
It's
get them
really
excited?
interesting. The whole broadcast world is difficult now with PVRs and people going through the commercials. The one benefit we have as a league is people want to watch their sports live.
Yeah.
Very few people will PVR it. They might if they can't get to it, and they walk around the streets like blah, 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 so they can't hear what the score is.
Yeah.
But most people want to watch it live. So we're in a position where traditional programming, whether it's House or those type of primetime shows, are having a lot more difficulty. More people are gravitating to sports. It was really interesting. There's this new thing called PPM, which is personal PPMs. It's how you rate television shows. I don't know if any of you guys know that.
I'm not. I've heard about it. Yeah.
Right.
I've heard about
I
it.
understand it.
Used to have a PPM. Did they kick you out of it? You don't wear it around much? Or,
I just got tired of plugging it in every day,
right.
so I
Right.
didn't watch much TV.
Okay.
So
Yeah, they want people very active. So, what's just interesting on the PPMs is that of all the sports, we've done the best. Our ratings have jumped. We're up over 100% with the new PPMs. Hockey went up about 50%, and we went up about 100%. Primarily because we know that football is one of those sports that people like to watch in groups. But live programming, so we're doing very well at TSN. TSN has done a really great job of getting young people. Our demographics of 18 to 34-year-olds has grown about 30 to 40% every year since we've been on TSN. So the last 2 seasons, it's done very well. But primarily, the things that we're doing are focusing a lot with TSN, the TSN package and CTV. It all depends if you watch TV or not. We're really trying to get, TSN spends millions and millions of dollars in promo dollars to get people to drive to our broadcasts. They do it on their sister channels, they do it on CTV, they do it on a lot of their digital networks, they do it with CP24. So there's a lot of assets that they own, they do it on some of their radio channels to try and drive people to watch our broadcasts. And then what we have to do is put on the best games. And Tom Higgins right here is former coach of the year and head of officiating. And that's the most important thing that we do. Did we break up break too? Two break up breaks. No, right? No. Tom is our head of officiating, and we talk about all these things, but you have to have great play on the field. If your games are great, that's what really attracts people. Last year, 43% of our games were decided in the last 3 minutes.
Wow.
That's what, sitting in the sitting in the chair as a commissioner, that's exactly what you want. You want parity.
Right on the very edge
You want
of
it
the
right
chair.
down. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. I can't root for anyone. Only me and my Sony TV at home know ultimately who I like. But that's what you want, and it goes down to the 19, which is the officiating, how you manage the flow of the game, what type of new rules we put in place to create it more interesting, the new QB headsets that are in place so that they can communicate with, it's a one-way communication, but the coaches can put in place and help on the offensive side. I mean, what are we up this year in offensive scoring already? I mean, it's only the first 2 weeks, but I think last year we averaged 54 points. In the first game of the season, it was 105 points. Yeah, 105 points, the third highest scoring game in the history of this league. So I think it really it boils down to putting on a great product on the field. And we have amazing players. I mean, I think things like the NFL Network allows us to attract great American talent, but we have amazing homegrown talent here in Canada. The CIS system is really strong. And the game is a different game than the NFL. I mean, it's really interesting. People who eventually tune in and watch our game are blown away. The other thing also about people who grew up on border towns who are NFL fans, our research shows that if you're a football fan, 75% of our fans, NFL fans here in this country, overlap. So if you're a CFL fan, you're also an NFL fan. So what we care is people becoming football fans and focusing on football. You know, that's a